Good morning, dear colleagues from Russia. I congratulate you on joining Ring the Bell for Gender Equality Initiative. And I would like to applaud the Russian Stock Exchange for joining initiative and taking gender equality to the top level of the business community. As a representative of the Eastern European networks of the Global Compact in the local network advisory group, I can proudly say that Russia is the fourth Eastern European country to join the Ring the Bell initiative. So I think you can be proud of being one of the leaders in this regard. I hope that today you will have an interesting and an engaged event and discussion around how to bring gender equality to the boards and to the financial sectors. And here I would like to exchange some information about Macedonia, the situation here, and what we do to address this issue into the business sector. On a first glance, we could say that we do have a high level of gender equality. However, on a closer look, we can see that there are still significant gender disparities within the business sector. So officially, around 30% of the registered companies are owned by women. But that goes only on paper and only for really small family-based companies. On the other hand, when we look at the structure of the boards, the situation is not as good. Almost half of the companies which have boards do not have women representation on the boards. And those that have, the percentage goes from 2 to 21%, which is still really a low representation of women on the boards. When we see the members at the Macedonian Stock Exchange, which is around 102 companies, probably significantly lower than in Russia, the numbers are really worrying. Only 4% of those companies have women serving on the boards. So we really have to do something more on this issue. We also have significant pay gaps between men and women, which are around 19% for the same job and the same qualifications. On the other side, we produce 10% more higher educated women than men. So we really miss a significant portion of women to bring on the management position and to bring them into business. Of course, there are several reasons for this. I assume some of them are similar with the Russian context, but one of them is really the requirements, the burden of the domestic work that women have and the care for the children and the family in general. So what the research in Macedonia showed is that from every 1 hour of domestic work conducted by men equals 3 hours of women's work in the domestic field. So in this regard, women really face challenging when they want to advance the career. And we all know that really the business sector and especially the high top position require a strong commitment, long working hours, and are often not structured to support women with families. So what we do to address this issue in Macedonia is really to promote gender-sensitive practices within the companies and to promote standards that provide work-private life balance. We have a so-called Mumford standard, which really makes an assessment of the business environment. It looks at the company and assesses how their policies and practices are set up in terms of gender equality and work-life balance. Whether they provide flexibility in terms of working arrangements, how they manage their leadership, do they provide equal opportunities to grow talent for both men and women. We also look at the needs of the new dads because today's young fathers want to also be involved more with the family. So we also believe that the working environments need to provide a conducive and flexible arrangement so that they can also take over this role. So within the Mumford standard, we do assessment of the company. And then we propose action plan on how the company can improve on all levels, from the policy to the governance structures, to the leadership, to the promotion policies, to the practices in terms of everyday work. We also encourage companies to support outside of the legal requirements, support both men and women, but in particular women, to use flexibility options to provide them services that are family friendly, so child care or some kind of domestic services free of charge that the employees can use. We also encourage employers to support the fathers to take on more domestic responsibilities and in particular a parental leave, which is something that the law allows but is not frequently used in Macedonia. I don't know what is the situation in Russia. I would like to hear back your experiences in this regard. So in this way, we believe that the companies, not pressured by the outside regulation, can really do something to promote a better working environment that will serve both men and women, that will be gender sensitive, because we need the leadership of the companies to understand the challenges that women with families face, and then to integrate this into all policies and operations so that they can create gender equal working environments. And as you probably know, the research, the statistics shows that on global level, companies with more gender balance ensure 53% higher return of investments and 41% higher sales return than those that do not have equal gender representation in their boards, in their management structure. Of course, we also advise policymakers on how to improve this situation and how to improve the representation of women in the top management positions. And from the experiences that we get from the Mumford Standard, we design policy recommendations. One further step for us is to really bring this standard to our Macedonian Stock Exchange and to try to engage the companies that are members of our stock exchange to take over the Mumford Standards and show a leadership. So maybe this is something that you are already doing. So I would be really interested to hear your experiences in this regard, or if not, maybe we can do something jointly and encourage our companies to join. I wish you a successful event and I hope to hear back from you soon. Thank you. Greetings from Macedonia.